Hey everybody, I know it's been a while, but I've been super busy with the new job, which is going fantastically, by the way, in case you care. But I've been meaning to make a video about this for some time. You see, an apostate sent me a letter, and I don't think it was directed only at me, at least I hope it wasn't. I hope this person is sending this letter to a whole lot of people, but I just have to read it because it is so funny. You see, here's what happened. I get a letter from the witnesses probably, once or twice a year. I'll get one of their generic pieces of mail with a tract or something in it. And what I always do is I open it up like, what new fresh hell is this? And I want to see if anything has changed about the way they talk, or if there's anything I can say about it or whatever. But so I opened this one up. It looked like a typical witness mailer, but it wasn't. So I'm going to read it to you. It was disguised as if it was coming from the witnesses, and the return address was also to the headquarters of the Watchtower. But let me read this to you. It's very, very good. All right, so here it goes. Dear neighbor, since the end of the world as we know it is dangerously near, we are writing you to tell you the things your minister has not told you, but which Jehovah's Witnesses, JW.org, want you to know. Jesus Christ, as Michael the Archangel, returned invisibly in the year 1914, the start of the last days, and proceeded to judge all Christian religions. In 1919, Jesus personally selected the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, aka Jehovah's Witnesses, as God's spirit-directed organization to preach the good news of God's kingdom before God destroys all human governments and false religion in the Battle of Armageddon, Matthew 24:14. Therefore, it is imperative that everyone who wishes to avoid destruction by Jehovah at Armageddon become a Jehovah's Witness as soon as possible. Admittedly, Watchtower previously claimed that Armageddon would definitely occur in 1914, then again in 1925. Then it was strongly suggested that it would occur in 1975 when Watchtower officials coined the phrase, "Stay alive till 75." But those were just the predictions of imperfect men. This time, however, the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is really sure. So do not hesitate any longer. Do not make the common mistake of reading your Bible without the aid of the Watchtower publications, because you might conclude that Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is Christ's faithful and discreet slave, Matthew 24:47, 45 to 47. And only the governing body can accurately interpret the Bible. So forget everything your minister has told you, because all religions, except Jehovah's Witnesses, are false religion, and their ministers are actually ministers of Satan who has blinded their eyes. They may preach that Jesus is the mediator between God and men, 1 Timothy 2:5, but they have not told you that Jesus is only the mediator for the 144,000 Christians who are spirit anointed to go to heaven. True, Jesus said that no one comes to the Father except through him, but the only way to Jesus is through the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the faithful and discreet slave. Only 144,000 Christians were given the hope of going to heaven with Jesus, Revelation 14:1. All other Christians who survive Armageddon will enjoy everlasting life on a cleansed paradise earth, Psalm 37:10 and 11. Only a small number of those 144,000 spirit-anointed Christians remain on earth today, and all of those are Jehovah's Witnesses. They alone should partake of the bread and wine when commemorating the annual Lord's evening meal. Jehovah's Witnesses believe it is a sin to accept life-saving blood transfusions because the Bible plainly tells Christians to abstain from blood, Acts 15:20. Admittedly, many scholars say that the only biblical prohibition regarding blood was against eating the blood of animals killed for food. But those scholars are wrong, because the faithful and discreet slave says so. thousands of Jehovah's Witness men, women, and children have died for refusing life-saving blood transfusions because only the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses can determine what is or is not a matter of conscience, because they speak for Jehovah himself. And according to the Watchtower, one must be prepared to obey the governing body or one's local elders, even if doing so makes no sense from a strategic human standpoint. If one dies needlessly from doing so, there's always a resurrection hope for those who die for obeying the governing body. People who leave their family's religion and become a Jehovah's Witness are often disowned or shunned by their families. Such persecution is to be expected because Jesus said he came to cause such divisions among families. However, when Jehovah's Witnesses ostracize, cut off, and shun family members who leave their religion for reasons of conscience, such as unscriptural Watchtower teachings and practices, it is out of love to help the straying one return to Jehovah. Tearing families apart out of love is encouraged by the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. Don't be distracted by all the lawsuits and negative publicity against Jehovah's Witnesses for failing to report the crimes of pedophile elders, ministerial servants, and pioneers, missionaries, within their congregations, which crimes were never reported to civil authorities but were kept hidden in a secret Watchtower database. Jehovah's Witnesses are in the world, but they are not part of the world. As Jehovah's representatives, they have the right to disobey laws which they deem to be in conflict with Jehovah's laws. Like the first century Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses must obey Jehovah as ruler rather than men. So, it is okay for Jehovah's Witnesses to withhold the truth for the purpose of misleading enemies of Jehovah, even if they do so in courts of law after having sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Before visiting a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, be advised that Jehovah's Witnesses are well-groomed and modestly dressed. Their female-approved associates wear minimal makeup and jewelry and choose dresses that show no cleavage and with hemlines below the knee. Their male-approved associates refrain from wearing beards and tight pants, which were designed by homosexuals, according to the faithful and discreet slave. Visitors are encouraged to adhere to these guidelines in order to fit in and to avoid receiving judgmental stares from others. For questions and comments, please contact Jehovah's Witnesses and it gives all the phone numbers. Have a nice day, your smiling JW neighbors. And then again, it links to jw.org. Now, the only thing is, they got the old light about only wearing dresses and men not having beards, because they can do that now. But wasn't that brilliant? It was brilliant. I don't know who wrote this. And I challenge you, except for that last paragraph, to show me that anything that was written in that letter is not actually the teaching of the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. Isn't it interesting that what witnesses put in their letters and what they say at the door and what they would tell someone who walked up to a cart is so very, very different from what they actually believe? They literally are taught to lie to people in the ministry, to make their religion look like something it isn't in an attempt to try to attract people into it. Interestingly and coincidentally, and this is why I posted this today, I was talking to a friend of mine today. She's a mother of 4, 5 children. Like at the time, it was 4 children. She had a witness walk up to her while she was leaving from a parking lot and told her, tried to start a conversation about the Watchtower and give her a magazine. And my friend, who knew what the witnesses taught, just wasn't interested. No, thank you. I'm already a Christian. To which the witness said that she also was a Christian and we all are trying to serve God. To which my friend said, but you don't really believe that. You don't really think that I'm a Christian. And the witness tried to hem and haw around it, but that's the facts. Witnesses do not believe that anyone that are not already Jehovah's Witnesses are actually true Christians. That's the phrase that they use, true Christians. So the message they present to the public is actually a lie intended to try to trap and attract people into the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't tell you what they really believe until you join the religion or at least study with the witnesses, and you're pretty deep in it before they start to actually tell you what they think about anyone who isn't one of them. They don't think you're a Christian. They don't believe you serve God. They think that you serve Satan and you only think you serve God. They don't believe any of the things that they tell you at the door or in the public copies of the magazines or at the carts. That's not the truth. It's either a half truth or just an outright fabrication. It's intended to draw people into the religion and to make them look like they're more accepting and welcoming of other people's belief systems than they actually are. But I would love to know what you think about this. So please, by all means, leave your opinions in the comments about this letter. And I wish it had a name on it. I wish I knew who wrote it. And if it was you, please let me know, because it was awesome and brilliant. And I hope you send this to as many people as possible. If you disagree, if you think this is a bad idea, if you thought it was funny, but you're not so keen on it, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. And as always, thanks for watching.